So first and foremost, I just want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your very busy schedules to join me here today for our January Accelerate Series webinar. If you are not familiar, over the course of the last several months, we've started and been hosting this Accelerate webinar series every third Thursday of every month at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do a webinar on a new topic, today's being the power of integrations. So thank you again so much for being here. This is being recorded, so if you registered for this webinar, if you're on with us here today, you will receive the recording that will be sent out an hour or so after today's webinar. It should be automated. If you have to jump early, just rest easy knowing that you're going to receive a copy of this recording. Now, that being said, before we kick things off, I want to also just go over if you have questions. Please know that they are incredibly important to me, and we're very lucky because I have some colleagues with me here on the line that I'm going to introduce here in just a moment. But if you do have any questions throughout today's program, I'm going to ask that you please use the questions area within the menu of GoToWebinar. So from there, you can go ahead and submit any questions that you have. We have a great team on today to be able to assist you with those questions. So let's kick things off by starting with some brief introductions, and then we'll get into the good stuff. So when it comes to introductions, I want to start off by saying that my name is LiaJean McHenry. I'm the Senior Training Manager over here at Asset Map, and I'm going to be taking you through the material here today. That being said, we're very fortunate because my colleagues, Brad Janicki, who's our Customer Success Advisor, is also on the line with us. He'll be helping me manage the questions in the chat area just to make sure that you have all the support that you need throughout today's program. And a very special guest is Allison Susko, who's our Director of Partnerships. She is on the front, she works on the front line for us when it comes to integrations. And so we know that you may have some questions that come through. So she's going to be a great resource having her on here today. And I'm actually going to have her speak a little bit later on about the best recommendations we have in terms of you submitting any kind of feedback pertaining to our integrations or other areas of the application. All right, let's go ahead and outline our agenda today just so that we can set expectations. So first, we're going to dive into who exactly we integrate with. Then we'll actually go through and do some brief overviews of those integrations. Then I'm actually going to hop into the application and show you a live example because you may have more than one integration that we offer. And I want to share with you that there are ways that you can use those integrations together, but then in some instances, you may be creating duplicates. And so we want to provide you with those best practices all throughout today's program to really set you up for success because there's a lot of value that comes with integrations. Then, as I mentioned previously, I'm going to turn it over to Allison Susko, our Director of Partnerships, to briefly just share with us the best practices for submitting feedback, because I know that that is a common theme that comes through for support is, how can I submit feedback regarding integrations and other areas of the application. Then, of course, we always wrap up with our incredible support and resources that we have available in the application. And then we will go ahead and check in with both Brad and Allison at the end to see if there are any questions that are left unanswered. All right, so let's go ahead and begin by starting off with who we integrate with. So here is all of our integration partners that we have listed out. Now, a few of our integrations are in beta testing, such as PreciseFP and Smart Office. So if you don't have access to those yet, that's because those are in our beta testing. And then we also have a customized Salesforce integration with our largest enterprise. So just keep that in mind that if you are a part of our large enterprise, you may only have specific integrations available to you, but I think it's important that we mention that overall. Now, the true value behind integrations is that they allow us to streamline our workflows. We have the ability to import households. For some, it's households and the financials, and for others, it's data storage. And later today, as I mentioned, we're going to dive into a lot of these explicitly as we go through. Now, let's touch into these a little bit deeper, and I'm going to show you how some of these can be used together, because if you have a pretty extensive tech stack, you may have quite a few of these, and in some cases, like I mentioned before, you may be creating duplicates. So we'll cover those best practices all throughout, And so without further ado, in no particular order, let's go through each of these integrations, starting with our Redtail integration. So the great thing about our Redtail CRM integration is it allows you not only to import a household from Redtail into AssetMap, but you can also backlink a household as well. So if you've already added a household into the AssetMap application, you can still link up your Redtail so that it brings over the most up-to-date contact information. So in terms of what does it actually pull over, it's going to pull over those basic pieces of contact information such as role, first name, last name, date of birth, gender. It's going to bring in the address, phone number, all those important details there. So a great option to be able to start off there. Now, what I also want to mention is that within Redtail, if you are familiar, there is a nickname field in Redtail that displays, and that is going to be the family name. So the nickname that you have in Redtail is going to be the name of how the household will appear in AssetMap. I think that that's important to mention, just in case you ever find, why can't I change the household name in AssetMap? It's because it's being fed over from Redtail. So just keep that in mind. Sticking along this CRM theme, we also have an incredible integration with our Wealth Box. And this is actually a relatively, let me go ahead and pass this over, excuse me. This is one of our latest and most requested integrations with Wealth Box. Again, it's going to allow you to bring over the members so it's going to allow you to bring over the contacts and the household. So it's going to bring over that contact information, those members. Again, it's going to be name, address, email. Again, no financials at this time. However, you do have the ability to import the household and bring over those important pieces of that contact information. Another integration that we have is going to be our eBix Smart Offers integration. Now, I want to mention again, this is in beta testing. And with this particular integration, this is a two-way integration, and there is a lot of customization and flexibility that comes with it. So you will have the ability you can pull and push information from either side, and you can be very specific as to what you want to change. So for example, if you wanted to update the value of a particular account, you can be specific and just select that one account to update its value. So it's not that you have to update every single account that pulls over from that integration. Again, in beta testing, but something that we're very excited about for the future. The next integration that I want to touch on is our Black Diamond integration. Now, the Black Diamond integration is going to not only allow you to bring over the members and the basic contact information as well, but there is an amazing feature here, and that is the ability for you to be able to publish an AssetMap report to the Black Diamond timeline within the client portal. So this can be found within the members on the AssetMap. There will be a Black Diamond tab, and within it, you'll have the opportunity to push that AssetMap report, and then it's going to populate onto that client portal timeline within Black Diamond. Now, this can be really great for client meetings, either pre or post. So if you are somebody who has Black Diamond, you do have the ability, as I've mentioned, to push that AssetMap report onto the timeline. You could do that pre-meeting, so that you could encourage your clients to say, go ahead and log into your client portal, take a look at that timeline. You're going to have the opportunity to see that AssetMap report. We'll review later in our meeting, or it could be for a great post follow-up meeting as well. Here again is that AssetMap report that we touched on in today's meeting. Here's a copy of it so that you have it for moving forward. Okay. Continuing on. Another great integration that we have is with Riskalyze. Now, with our Riskalyze integration, it pulls over a few different things. Not only is it going to pull over the members along with the financials, but it will also bring over the risk scores. So in the members, there will be both the target and portfolio scores, and then in the financials that come over, there will be risk scores that are associated with those particular accounts. So if we continue on, you're able to import those additional assets over, then you'll be able to see the risk scores. If you click into the actual members, it's going to show you both the target and the portfolio score. And if we continue on, and this is going to be a more zoomed in view for you to take a look at. So based off of the accounts that pull over from Riskalyze, the individual accounts, if they have risk numbers associated with them, will pull over and appear on the asset map. In addition, the members will also have both their target score and their portfolio score. And you'll know that the target score is going to be the one with the red circle, kind of looks exactly like a target, as if we were going to be doing archery of sorts. And then also the portfolio is going to be the colorful circle here as well. Now, one thing that I think it's important to mention is that if you're utilizing the Riskalyze integration, it is really valuable to have those risk scores appear on the physical asset map report. But I also want to let you know that within the asset map menu, there is a toggle. So if you wanted to remove those risk scores from the asset map, you have the ability to toggle them on and off once you've integrated them appropriately. And I'll show you a live example of this a little bit later on today. All right, and again, if you have questions, continue to chat them into the questions section. Our next integration is with Orion, and one great thing here is that not only do you have the ability to populate an asset map from Orion, it's going to bring over the household and the account info, in addition with some performance information. And it'll also allow you to jump back into Orion when you want. So again, you have the ability to import the household and those additional accounts. And then within the actual members themselves, there'll be a multitude of options where you can see the performance summary. To kind of give you a better idea of this, let me just show you a quick example. So let's say that we have already imported our client, Mr. Farley, directly from Orion into Asset Map. Once we've done that, when we come to the household summary, we can click that last sync. So that's going to, we get the most up-to-date values from Orion. Then when we click into the asset map report, I can click into the financials that came over from that integration. I'll have an Orion tab. Within the financial instruments themselves will be historical account information. And then when we click into the members that came through the Orion integration, we'll also have an Orion tab. However, there's going to be a multitude of options that we can take a look at here. From this drop down, you can see performance summary. There's going to be a lot of extra details in there as well. So you can take a look at performance detail. You can again select there, additional reports, documents, gains, losses, profile, you name it. A lot of really great information. And then down there at the bottom, if you notice, this is going to say view Orion dashboard. So again, the ability for you to jump into Orion if you wanted to continue to look at this further. In addition, the Orion integration has some aspects of Asset Map that can be viewed within Orion Insights, specifically target maps, a view of the Asset Map report, key financial figures, and also a summarization of the members and who the advisor is for that particular account. So as you can see, the Orion integration has a few different areas that you can access and you can view. And it's always important for us to mention that there are these 4 areas that do push over to Orion Insights, if you are familiar. Our next integration is Veo by TD Ameritrade. This is going to allow you not only to create households, it'll pull over the members, it'll pull over the accounts from Veo, but it'll also allow you to view the allocation as well. So once you import those accounts over, you can click into the individual assets themselves. You can click into the Veo tab. This is going to be a similar theme with almost all of our integrations, is that once you have pulled over the information or the members, you'll be able to click into the financial instruments. You can click into the individual members, and there will be a tab specific to that integration that provides additional information. In this particular example, this is going to be for a rollover IRA, and you can see that it's just going to break out some of the allocation that's specific to this account. And again, you can view the account on Veo if you so choose. So another integration that is great. Now, when it comes to creating duplicates, what we mean by that is saying that, let's say you have Riskalyze and you also have Veo. If when you log into Riskalyze, you have, let's say, 5 financial accounts for a client, and when you log into Veo, you have that same 5 accounts, you're not going to want to import that client or use both those integrations for them, because you're going to create duplicates of the financial instruments. So what it really comes down to is thinking about, okay, if we have these 2 integrations that we can use, what do I care more about? Do I want the risk score numbers to be on the asset map, or do I want to be able to click, and again, in this case, I'm using the example of Riskalyze and Veo, or do I want the financial instruments to come over and me be able to view the allocation for those particular accounts? Okay, and it can vary by client, because maybe for some clients, the risk scores are going to be more important, and for other clients, having the allocation available to you is going to be more important. You know your client base better than anyone. If you ever need help with knowing what should I use one over the other, you can always contact us through our support channels, and we can always have those conversations with you further as well. All right, a couple more here, so let's continue on. We also have an InvestNet MoneyGuide integration. Now, this is a inbound integration, and what that means is that in order for you to set up the integration between AssetMap and MoneyGuide, you actually have to go to the MoneyGuide platform and do it from their side. So all the information, you set up everything on MoneyGuide, it flows through into AssetMap, all the values and everything are handled from MoneyGuide. So I always like to stress for this particular integration, if you ever find that a name is coming over not the way that you want, or perhaps a value is not up to date, you're going to want to make sure that you reach out to MoneyGuide Pro directly, and then they'll be able to take a look at that with you. Now, currently with the MoneyGuide Pro integration is that you can push from MoneyGuide Pro into AssetMap. So you have the ability to import a household and its members, household meaning its members, and then the financial instruments from MoneyGuide Pro straight into AssetMap. And currently, MoneyGuide Pro brings over current assets, current income, and current property. And again, this is an inbound integration, so this is not something that you'll set up within the AssetMap platform. You will do it within MoneyGuide platform. Okay. All right, continuing on. Here we go. Continuing on, we also have file storage integrations. We have 3 different options that you can use: Dropbox, Google Drive, and Box. And the great thing here is that all of our file storage integrations function relatively the same. So you have the ability of, once it's turned on from the highest level, you'll go in within a specific household and you can create an overarching folder. Okay, so what you can do there is you can create an overarching folder, and then you can go into the specific financials and members of the asset map. So for example, if we clicked into an insurance asset for this household, within each financial instrument and member, there will be a Google Drive tab in this example, and you can create a new folder that will be specific to that particular financial or specific to that individual member. So ultimately, you have the ability to create that overarching household folder. So this is for my Cole family. And then underneath that, you can go into the physical instruments and create subfolders. And then under members, so if you go into any of the different members and you open up the Google Drive, you can also create subfolders there as well. And I'll show you a live example of what that looks like, because I know it's sometimes best to showcase that live. All right, continuing on. Now, before we hop into the application, for me to kind of go over best practices for us to go through a live example, I really want to first pose a question to you all. So I'm actually going to launch a poll on the screen right now. And what I want to know from you is, I want to know, how do you prefer to learn about AssetMap? If you've been joining me over the course of the last several months, you may notice that this is something that I've asked before, but it's so important for us from a training perspective, from a support perspective, to hear from you all, to know what kind of training you're looking for. Is it through the use of a community forum? Is it through support articles? Is it through training videos? Is it through phone support? Do you prefer live webinars like this one? If you could please just take a moment and fill that out, I would be so appreciative, because again, this is so important for us across the board in order for us to continue building out relative content for you all. Thank you so much. I see that many of you are filling that out. I'm going to go ahead and wait for just a couple more seconds here. If you haven't, if you're listening to me on the webinar, but you've looked away for a second, if you can pop back on and let us know how you prefer to learn about AssetMap. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, I'll go ahead and close this poll, and then we will go ahead and continue on. And then Brad, let me just check in with you briefly. You can still see my screen, correct?
Yes, I can.
Awesome, thank you so much. All right, well, let's go ahead and hop directly into the application and let's talk about some best practices for setting up integrations. So the first thing that I want to talk about is where do you even go to turn your integrations on? So the first place that you're going to want to do is you're going to enable your integrations from the highest level. Where you're going to be able to find them is, of course, from your main screen here. You can click Enable Integrations, or you can click on your main menu, which is your name, on the top right. And from here, you'll have the ability to click Integrations. By clicking into the integration section, you'll be brought and you're going to have the list of our integrations that are available to you. Please remember that you also have the MoneyGuide Pro InvestNet integration. If you do have MoneyGuide Pro, you'll just have to enable that from the MoneyGuide Pro side. And I want to stress that we have support articles on all these different integrations. If you need help or have questions, let me show you briefly where you can find those. I think this will be valuable for us across the board. When you click into our help button here down on the bottom right, it's going to open up our different support options. And the thing that I love the most is that all the support that you need is available to you live in application. First, if you ever wanted to chat in directly with our team, we have a great support team. We always make sure that we answer your chats as quickly as possible. If you chat us in something that we need to take a look at, we'll let you know that we're looking into it. We will always get back to you as soon as possible. So again, if you weren't aware, you can always chat in questions directly with our team. We also have the option for you to be able to research through our entire resource database. So for example, maybe you want to learn more about the Riskalyze integration. All you have to do is type in that keyword, and when you click search, all of our related articles are going to be listed here. So you'll notice that there's a couple different articles. We have our Riskalyze integration, Riskalyze troubleshooting, how to hide or show Riskalyze scores. We could follow the same theme with all of our other integrations as well. So you can always just change this up. Maybe you want to learn more about Redtail, you can search that, and we have support articles available to you here. Of course, if you need any additional help, you can always chat into our support team, which then brings me to our third option here. If you don't have time to chat into our team, you do have the ability to be able to email us directly, and that's how you can do that, is through submitting a question. So if you want to ask us a question and you want us to get back to you as soon as we can, then you can always submit a question there. Down here at the bottom, these areas tend to change based off of new content that we're rolling out, announcements that we have, upcoming trainings. For example, we have our expansive Asset Map Bootcamp coming up in February, the 10th through the 12th. I will talk about this a little bit later on today, but we would love for you to attend our upcoming bootcamp, especially if you're really looking to take that deep dive into Asset Map. And one great thing I like to mention here is that our CEO and founder, Adam Holt, he does handle a lot of our boot camps, so you will hear directly from him and how he's implemented this into his business and been incredibly successful. So something just to mention, if you're interested in learning more about that later today, you can come into the application, you can click that Save My Seat section, and I'm also going to provide a special promo code for you. Brad, if you would, in the chat section, if you could just go ahead and post the link. If you're interested in learning more about it, I'm going to have Brad post the link for our bootcamp site if you want to learn more about it. And because you joined us for this webinar today, we have a special promotion that we're going to be offering for you for 15% off. And you're welcome to share that with your colleagues. Again, this is a special code because you were able to join today's webinar. So thanks for being here. All right, so I just wanted to reiterate that we have great support resources when it comes to our integrations if you need some help. But initially, what you're going to want to do is you're going to come into your Asset Map platform. Again, you'll click on your main menu on the top right. You'll click into integrations. From here, you're going to want to assess, okay, looking at my tech stack, which of these different integrations would work for me? So let's pose this as if for me as the advisor, okay? I use Redtail for my CRM, and I also use Riskalyze because I love the risk profiling that happens there as well. And maybe I also have Google Drive. So those would be, if I have all three of those would be the three integrations within Asset Map that I would turn on. Because if I don't subscribe to Wealthbox, or I don't subscribe to Veo or Box or Dropbox or any of these other things, I'm not going to be able to turn those integrations on, right? So you do have to have your own access to these areas in order to turn on those integrations. All you have to do that is you would simply click into the one that you're looking to turn on. Instructions would be listed here. Okay, I'll click into Wealthbox for an example. A lot of our integrations look like this. It'll ask you to link up your account. You'll have to, of course, enter in your username and password directly for that particular partner. And then from there, you'd be able to turn on your integration. Now, some of our integrations are a little bit different. Some of them you may have to fill out a form. Some of them it's maybe not just username and password. I just like to set that expectation. Make sure that you follow the process that's laid out for you, depending on the integration, in order to set it up properly. So I've turned on my Redtail integration, I've turned on my Riskalyze integration, and I've also turned on my Google Drive storage, our file storage integration. So I've already gone through that process. Now, again, I can use both Redtail and Riskalyze together. And the reason being is that Redtail doesn't bring over any of the financial instruments, but Riskalyze does. So I don't have to worry about duplicating the financial instruments. What I would want to be mindful is, for example, other integrations that bring over financial instruments like Veo, like Orion, like MoneyGuide Pro. If we have multiple of those different integrations, we want to make sure that we're being mindful about which we're using so that we don't create duplicates. Okay, so let's talk about a best practice here. If you are looking to import a client from an integration who is not currently added into Asset Map, you do it from the highest level, which is where we are right now. So again, that's from your main menu, the integration section. So I'm going to use a perfect example. I have a client, their names are the Smiths, John and Mary. I have not added them into Asset Map yet. If I had already added them as a household into Asset Map, but then I wanted to sync them up to these different integrations, I would go a different route. I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. If I haven't added a client or prospect into Asset Map yet, however, and I want to import them through one of my integrations, I start from the highest level, which is where we are now. You'll want to click into the integration that you're looking for. I'm going to start with Redtail. So what I'll do is I'll click into my Redtail integration and I'm going to search. This is going to search at Redtail, right? I set up my account here and I'm going to search for the household that I want to bring over. And in this case, it's the Smiths. So I'm going to click search. It's going to think for a second, but then when it's ready, it's going to populate the Smiths. So I have John, Mary, and Timmy, their son. Now, the individual that has the orange household, you're going to see that in multiple of our integrations. That means that that individual is marked as the head of household within the integration that you're looking at. So John Smith is marked as the head of household. I can click import next to his name, and it's going to prompt me to say, okay, do you want to import the entire household, so including his spouse, including his child, or do you want to just import him as a single contact? In this case, I'm going to import all. So I'm going to click import all, and what it's going to do is it's going to link it up, so it's going to take a second. And what it's doing is it's not only pulling them over from Redtail, but it's creating a brand new household in Asset Map. I'll know when it has been successfully completed because I'm going to see these check marks listed here. Also the ability to view that household. So I could just click view here, or I could go ahead and I can come into my household index list and I could find them this way as well. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'll click into my household index list and I'm going to go to the Smiths. Okay, Smiths are going to go onto the second page. So I'm going to click there, and here's my Smith family household. I can see that they have come through my integration with Redtail. They're synced up with Redtail. Okay, now if I wanted to also utilize the Riskalyze integration to pull over the financials for that family as well, I'm actually going to go into the physical household for the Smiths, right? I'm not going to come up here to my main menu. I'm not going to click into integrations and do Riskalyze, because if I do it that way, it's going to create a whole other household in Asset Map for the Smiths and it'll just be their financials. Okay, so the reason why I'm really trying to spend the time going through this is because integrations are incredibly powerful. They save us time. They allow us to streamline our workflow. There's a lot of value there. But I do like to just stress that sometimes when a common thing that we get in support is, I've created a duplicate, how do I fix it? We can always help you with that. It's no problem at all. But if you already have a household that's been added into Asset Map, which in this case, the Smith household has already been added, if I want to enable the Riskalyze integration, I do it from the household level. So when I click into the household itself, we have an integrations box down here on the bottom left. Any of your integrations that you've enabled, in other words, you've turned them on, they will appear here. So as I mentioned, I turned on my Redtail integration, I turned on my Riskalyze, I turned on my Google Drive. Now, this particular client is synced with Redtail, but this particular client has not been synced through Riskalyze yet. So if I wanted to do that, I do it here from the household level, and I'm going to click Enable. By clicking Enable, it's going to take me directly in to Riskalyze, but again, still within this specific household. And now I'm going to search at Riskalyze for the household that I want to tie it to. So I'm going to click search, then it's going to populate John and Mary. Now, this is very important. I'm going to select the Import To dropdown, and I'm going to select John Smith, because John Smith is already a member in this household. So I just want to link these two together. So first I select the member who I want to import to, and then I click import next to John's name. So notice how I'm matching up the names, right? Import to John Smith. So now we have merged the Riskalyze information to the already existing member who also was imported through Redtail. Okay, and then again, I can do the same process. I can search for Smith again. So you do have to do it by individual member, right? But this is to ensure that we do it correctly. So I can select import to, I select Mary, and then I can go ahead and click import next to her name. And it'll take a second, and then it's going to link and it's going to populate, and you'll know that you've done that successfully because you'll see it listed over here on the right. Now, when I click back into my household summary page, if I click on the Smiths, notice how Riskalyze, it says last sync, Redtail, it says last sync. So now I know that I have successfully brought over this information from these two integrations into this household that is the Smiths. So if I click into their asset map, now I'm going to be able to see John, Mary, and Timmy, because remember, they all came through my Redtail integration. Now, when I click on any of the members, I'm going to have a Redtail tab, okay? And now, because I imported this household from Redtail right off the bat, notice how these sections are yellow. That means that this is being fed to us from that integration. So if we want to update this information, I need to go to Redtail and update it there first. And then I can resync it here in Asset Map. Within every member, there will be a Redtail tab that will also allow you to view that important basic information that gets fed over. And then if you want to view that record in Redtail, you have the ability to do so here as well. So for example, if I realize that the email address or the contact information is incorrect, I'm going to have to log into Redtail on its own, make that adjustment, and then when I come back into Asset Map for this household, I can resync. So I can click this sync button. By clicking that, we now are going into Redtail and we're pulling over the most up-to-date information. So what's important to mention here is that with all integrations, we are not ever going to automatically sync for you, and that's for good reason, especially when you have integrations set up that also bring over the financials. And the reason why that's good is if I click back into this asset map here, you know, within Riskalyze, those account values are going to update, and or add those risk scores might update. But we're never going to automatically update them in here first until you click that sync button. And where that's valuable is that before you click sync, you can always come into the asset map and you can generate a PDF so that you have the version of what it is before you click the sync button to then pull in the new values or updates. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now with Riskalyze, as I mentioned before, it's going to pull over the target and the portfolio score for each of the members. If we click into any of the members, We'll also have a Riskalyze tab, and within that, it's again going to list off the target and portfolio score. And then if you want to view it in Riskalyze, you have the ability to do so as well. That's for the members. Now, the financial instruments that get pulled over from Riskalyze, of course, if there's a risk number associated with that account, it'll appear here. And then we can click into the financial instrument, and there will also be a Riskalyze tab as well. And what it's going to do is it's going to provide the risk score for that particular account, but then also allow you the ability to click into Riskalyze. As I mentioned when we were going through the PowerPoint, one thing with the Riskalyze integration in particular is that because these risk scores appear on the asset map, if you wanted to hide them within your asset map menu down at the bottom, there is a toggle. So if I toggle this off, it simply just removes the risk scores from view, and then we can always turn it back on. That can be really nice for presentation purposes. If you like to start with them off and then you want to bring in the conversation of risk, we can turn them on to have them appear. Now, I recognize that not all of you on this webinar have Redtail and Riskalyze, but there's not enough time in today's program to be able to go through every single integration and the ones that you can use together. So I just want to stress that if you have multiple integrations if you have subscriptions to the different integrations that we have available, again, in order to set them up, you're going to click on your main menu, you're going to click into integrations here. And from this integration section, this is where you're going to turn on your integration. So you'll go through the steps in order to verify that you do have a subscription there. You'll turn on the integration. Then from there, you have to ask yourself, okay, do I already have this household added in asset map? Because if you do, you can still set up your integration, but you need to do it you can still pull over the information for that household within the integrations, but you need to do it within the household level. So for example, maybe I have my Cole household. So this is some clients that I've been working with for some time. When I click into their household, I've already added them into asset map. Maybe I added them even before I got Redtail, even before I got Orion, even before I got Black Diamond. If they're already a household with an asset map, I come to the household summary first, and then I can scroll down in my integrations, and the ones that I've turned on, I can say, okay, you know what? I want to enable this because I want to pull over the financial instruments and the risk scores into this particular household from Riskalyze. You'll have the ability to do that here. Okay, so just a couple things to think about there. That being said, I just want to stress again that if you have any questions or you feel like you need to learn a little bit more about how some of these integrations work, we have great support resources available to you. Again, you can click on that help button in order to do so. Now, I want to quickly pass it over to you, Allison, if you'll come on the line with us, because I know one of the biggest things that we get are questions as to how people can submit feedback or kind of what is our plan for integrations moving forward. So I'd love for you to take a second and kind of share with us how to go about that.
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Great. Hi, everyone. That was excellent, LJ. Thanks for all of that wonderful information about some of our integration partners. So again, I'm Allison Susko, and I head up partnerships for Asset Map and really focus a lot on, fielding, where we might be going with the different integrations, new ones on the horizon, where we can improve some of our existing partnerships with our integration folks that we have listed. And, certainly, like LJ said, one of the most common questions that we get is, who are you integrating next? Or I would love to see this particular company or that particular company. And the best way for us to keep track of this, really decide what direction we should take and which companies we should engage would be if you click on, when you're in Asset Map and you click on your name on the top right hand side, you'll see a place where you can then offer some feedback. So it says feedback kind of halfway, a little more than halfway down, and you click on that, and that connects you over to a platform in our system called ProdPad. And it's a place where our development team, partnerships team can really keep track of, what people are looking for in the system as far as enhancements, additional integrations. It's kind of an all-encompassing spot where you can, really, if you have a great idea about what you should see in Asset Map or something you think would really be beneficial for the whole community, or again, integrations, we're going to track how many times someone asks for, an e-money integration or an Allbridge connection, or, we'd love to see you guys working with Right Capital. All of those would really be where you would want to come into the feedback section, throw your name in there on the top line, get your email address listed, and then where it says, of course, it would be awesome if, just go ahead and tell us who you think it would be great to be able to either, send data to from AssetMap or vice versa. And of course, if I use eMoney as an example, because I would say we probably got 10 questions about eMoney in the Q&A today alone. That's certainly one that is at the top of the list. We would love to, have some additional conversations with them over there at eMoney. They're great to work with. They're actually right down the street from us. So that's, definitely something we're considering. And if that's something you want, throw it in that feedback section, because the higher the amounts we have as far as suggestions go, that's really going to have an impact on future decisions we make. So we would love to have you share with us in that feedback section when you get logged into AssetMap, when you click on your name there in that menu. So that's really what I wanted to add today. We take it very seriously. We appreciate your feedback, of course, and that's really where we go to monitor who's asking for what. So it's very important that you add it there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Allison. I appreciate that. And as she mentioned, definitely please submit any feedback that you choose to give to us. Again, it can be integration related. It could also be other items in the application, enhancements that you'd like to see. So as she mentioned, we do take it very seriously, and we'd love to hear from you. Now, one other area that I want to showcase to you is we do have an incredible tool that we actually added on to our website. We rolled this out in Q3 of last year, and this is our tech compass. And our CEO and founder, Adam, really took some time and envisioned and wanted to be able to create a space where if you're looking to evaluate your tech stack, you're looking to grow your tech stack, you're wanting to find, what are the different options out there when it comes to scheduler apps. This is interactive, so you do have the ability to click into any of these different sections, and it'll just simply list off who's out there that provides solutions for that particular area. For example, you click into financial planning, it's going to list off those different solutions. You want to look into portfolio management, it'll list off those different solutions. So it's really just kind of taking this, we didn't want to do the same old placemat of logos, and we wanted a place where you'd be able to see an entire suite of critical professional technology solutions in one comprehensive graphic to let you know, are you missing anything? What solutions are out there in these particular areas, to see who are the providers in each category and where they overlap. So I just wanted to share this because I do think that this does tie into integrations, especially if you're looking to evaluate your tech stack or you're looking to just see what other solutions are out there. And I'm actually going to have Brad throw in the link directly to this compass. So if you'd like to take a look at it, it's just asset-map.com/compass. You can always just bookmark this onto your desktop, or rather your browser. A great opportunity to have something quick to be able to click into to take a look if you want to see what other solutions are out there. So where I want to conclude today is by hopping back into our PowerPoint, and I just want to share with you what's coming next. So obviously, thank you so much for taking time for joining us. I would really encourage you to please sign up for next month's Accelerate series. That's going to be February the 18th at 3 p.m. Eastern. So again, we host our Accelerate series webinar every third Thursday at 3. And we're going to throw that registration link in the chat now. Please go ahead and click on that, save your seat. We are going to be diving into how to use AssetMap within a client meeting. So that's going to be our next topic for next month. And then that brings me to a great point of, if you love AssetMap, we want to hear from you. When it comes to advisors out there looking to develop their tech stack or possibly looking for a new solution to really fill that gap they're looking to fill, they want to hear from their peers. So we would love to hear from you. If you love AssetMap, you're an advocate of us, please take a moment. We're going to throw a link into the chat. We'd love for you to leave us a review. And then I want to also pose this question of, if you are interested in finding out how you could possibly get AssetMap for free, or at least highly discounted, introduce us to your leadership or refer us to a friend, and we'll do the rest. So I'm going to also include in the chat now a link where if you'd like to submit some information so that, you know, we can kind of get in contact with you or those in leadership within your firm or enterprise, that would be fantastic. And we'd love to have those conversations with you. As I mentioned throughout today's webinar, we do have our upcoming boot camp. That's again going to be over the course of 3 days between February 10th and 12th. Here's the website if you're interested. Again, we'll post that in the chat. I'll actually hop in directly so that you can see what we're going to be offering. So if you were to click into the link that Brad's going to post in the chat here in just a moment, it's going to take you to the page where we're going to let you know this is happening February 10th through 12th. And we offer our Bootcamp 101 session, which is the first day, and it runs from 12 until 5 Eastern Standard Time. So it's a 5-hour program, of course, breaks built in. We break out the different focus points here. This really is a deep dive. This is really if you're looking to take things to the next level. Maybe you're just getting started. Maybe you haven't been using Asset Map as much as you want to be using it. Definitely please join us. You can join us for just our Bootcamp 101, or you can join us for just our Bootcamp 201. Our 201 session is our practice accelerator, so it is very in-depth, and it's going to be broken out over 2 days. So that'll be the 11th and the 12th. Each day runs from 12 until 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're interested in attending all 3, we have combo pricing available as well. If you scroll down here, you can register. And again, because you've joined us on our program here today, we are offering you a special promo code for 50% off. You're welcome to apply that right here. And then in addition, you can share it with your colleagues if you have other folks in your office that also have Asset Map that really are looking to learn more about it. When you scroll down even farther, we break out who's speaking. If you'd like to learn about testimonials that we've had of people who've attended in the past, I really encourage you to do so. If you want to check out our agenda, additional information in there as well. All right. So that being said, let me go ahead and check in with you, Brad. How are we doing on questions? Any outstanding items before we wrap up today?
We are all good to go, LJ. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So where I would like to conclude is by simply just saying thank you. Thank you so much to each of you for joining here today, for filling out that poll. Again, if you ever need anything, please contact us through our incredible support resources, and you will receive this recording probably about an hour or so past when this webinar concludes. So thank you so much, and I hope you all have an incredible remainder to your day. Thank you.